When I was younger, my family and I lived out on a dirt road in the country. Our next door neighbor was always friendly with my family. One day, our neighbor asked me if I would help him break the leaves in his yard. I agreed, and we spent the morning raking and bagging up leaves. After we finished, he walked me home to say hello to my parents. As we walked into the house, we could hear my mom's voice upstairs. It sounded like she was on the phone, pacing back and forth. I called out for my dad, but there was no answer. My neighbor says, "Well, sounds like your mom is on the phone. I'll catch your parents another time." We said our goodbyes, and he walked back to his house. I go upstairs and called out for my mom, but there was no answer. I searched the upstairs, but I can't seem to find her or hear her anymore. I searched the whole house, but it's empty. I'm thinking at this point, did she leave the house while I was saying goodbye to the neighbor somehow? Feeling worried, I decided to call my dad's cell because my mom didn't have one. My dad answers instantly. I ask him where he is and if he knows where my mom went. "She's with me right now. We've been running errands for a couple of hours." I felt goosebumps all over my body. My neighbor and I both heard footsteps and a woman's voice, but there was no one there. I had no idea who or what it was, but we both heard it. I waited outside until my parents got home. I'm not a believer of ghosts at all, but I have absolutely no explanation for this to this day. Woman's voice and footsteps, clear as can be. And we didn't live in town, so I know it wasn't someone who broke in and then snuck out when they heard me. It freaks me out whenever I think about it. I was just chilling at home, all alone and feeling super lazy in bed. I wasn't actually sleeping, just wasting time on Reddit or something on my phone. Since I was working the night shift at that time, my usual routine involved being alone from around 9 a.m. until 5 or 6 p.m. So there I was, lounging in bed, when suddenly, around 3 p.m., I hear this distinct sound of the front door swinging open and then closing shut. At first, I didn't let it get to me too much and chalked it up to my roommate deciding to come home for lunch, so I shrugged it off. But then, I could hear the bathroom door in the hallway being shut, followed by the unmistakable sound of the shower turning on. At that point, I couldn't help but blurt out, "What the? Did my roommate come home to take a shower?" Feeling concerned and curious at the same time, I ended up getting out of bed and head towards the bathroom. I needed to check if my roommate had come home feeling sick or something. As I made my way across the trailer, I suddenly realized that it's dead quiet. I mean, there was no sound except for the distant noise of cars passing by on the road near our place. I ran back to my room to go and hide, my heart pounding like crazy. I grabbed my phone and immediately texted both my boyfriend and roommate. I wanted to know if either of them had come home unexpectedly or had some mystery friend over that I wasn't aware of. My boyfriend was working a job that was over an hour away, quickly replied saying no. I felt a chill run down my spine as I read his response. Then my roommate finally responded, and he confirmed he hadn't been home since he left in the morning. That's when I decided to head to work early, but just my luck, my work clothes were in the dryer, which is right next to my roommate's bathroom. I cautiously approached the open door of the bathroom. To my surprise, there was no steam on the mirror, not even the tiniest sign that someone had recently used the shower. At that point, I couldn't get out of there fast enough. I quickly grabbed my uniform and hightailed it out of the house. That incident really messed me up for days afterward. To make matters worse, my boyfriend and roommate wouldn't let me live it down. I live in a loft in a downtown area in Detroit next to a few bars. The building was built in 1892, and the walls are like that of a Civil War bunker. The entrance to the building is a street-side unmarked door, randomly placed between businesses, so it usually goes unnoticed. It opens directly to a staircase leading to 3 apartments here. It's been a constant fear that drunk people from the bars mistakenly make their way into my foyer. Back in October, I had the shock of a lifetime. It was about 3 a.m. on a work night, and I woke up hearing 2 very distinct voices coming from my living room area. I have 2 friends who have keys to my place, in case they are at the bar and need to sleep it off, but neither voice sounded like them. Then I heard what sounded like an eerie violin. I thought 2 drunk people had broken into my apartment, and I guess decided to watch a movie or something. I was freaking out and trying to figure it out. I just hid and hoped it would go away. Finally, the sounds completely disappeared, which was just as disheartening. I didn't hear any footsteps, so it made me think they grew aware of my presence. I grabbed a weapon, which was a 24-inch machete that I keep next to my bed, and slowly creeped towards the living room. Nothing was there. It was pitch black, and everything was turned off. Turns out, my neighbor, who owns a film studio I live above, pulled an all-nighter editing his entry to the Halloween horror film contest he hosts every year. He was reviewing his film and accidentally paired with my soundbar instead of his own. He played the audio very loudly to a horror film to me in my pitch black apartment at 3 in the morning. This happened to me just last week. My parents were out of town, so I had the house to myself and my dog. Just us 2. It was about 8 o'clock and I was playing video games, with my dog on my bed behind me. Now, I should mention my dog has always been strange. She chases light reflections from phones on the wall. So when she started to bark at seemingly nothing but my closed door, I thought nothing of it at all. She got off my bed and ran to the door, looking like she wanted to be let out. I figured she wanted some water or something. No big deal. I let her out and she runs downstairs, growling nastier than I've heard before. She barks at what I can only assume are neighbors walking outside. I'm too into my game to get up and investigate, so I just yell down for her to quiet down, and she does. Then this is where I really freak out. It's not even 5 minutes later that I hear what sounds like a dog whimpering, which is strange because I have never in her 4 years heard her whimper. So I start to get up to go check on her, but then I hear what sounds like a man attempting to whimper and growl a little like a dog. It sounds like it's coming from downstairs, but it's loud. I stop in my hallway for a second just to listen. It sounds like the dog and the man go back and forth a couple of times. I build up the nerve to call down, because at this point, I'm thinking it's either an intruder or hopefully one of my uncles coming to let my dog out and not knowing I'm home, which they do whenever we are all gone, so they know our garage code and whatnot. But when I yell down, I don't get a response, just more of the whimpering. I call once more, and then I hear an almost mumbled whimper from the human-sounding party. But worse yet, it comes from the storage room that is just about 10 feet away from me. I run downstairs, see my dog laying lazily on the couch, about to sleep. I grab a kitchen knife and lock all entrances to my bedroom and stay there with my dog. I never hear anything strange again, but I was on edge the rest of the week.